is to Dr. Patton. What are you so opposed to a board level committee? Because it appears you're lobbying in support of the superintendent level committee. Why are you so opposed to it?
No, I'm not.
At the board level?
I'm not lobbying. I'm telling you what I'm going to do, regardless. Whatever the board does, the board does. It's not a problem. But from an operational side, I want to be sure that we also go ahead and get information from people that work with companies that are 100 or more, also including our retiree committees. The board can do whatever they want to do. What I'm telling you is that I'm going to do this. If that helps in you having a committee or not having a committee is totally up to the board.
Well, I think that's great. Then the superintendent has a committee with who she wants to have, and the board has theirs too. I think this is a win-win for everybody.
So we have on the agenda a board budget committee. In order to move forward on this, we would have to have consensus among board members.
I'm sorry, Ms. Korcia. I want to. Your second of your answers to your question is what I pointed out. When I had committee members tell me that some play to the TV and some won't speak up, that is why I'm going to go this other way, because that was a legitimate concern, and I listen.
So now it's going to be a matter of consensus.
No. It's going to be based on our policy that we all developed.
So we're not even going to be able to get this on the agenda to just have an up or down vote and have the public weigh in on this, is what you're telling me.
What's going to happen based on our policy is
which policy, just remind me, because I still find it absurd that as an elected official I cannot put an item on the agenda to discuss and to have the public weigh in and to have us have an up or down vote.
The administrative procedure, Mr. Fishbane, wasn't it the administrative procedure?
It is a policy, 0165, if we could pull that policy. For the procedure for board items,
So if we're getting emails from our constituents wanting this, and we're not even going to give them an opportunity to come forward at the next meeting and speak up on this and have an up or down vote. I don't understand.
What we're going to do is we're going to follow the policy.
It's my understanding that this was already on an agenda.
That's why it's on here.
This isn't an action item, though.
No.
If I could finish, this was already an agenda item. It was not voted on by 3 board members to agree to it. So at that point, it deferred to a workshop, which was this workshop, for further review. And at this point, it's up to the board to decide whether they want to put it back on the agenda or let it drop.
So in the future then, anytime any board member wants to bring something forward, all it takes is one person to block, to say, sorry, not going to have a vote, is that's what's happening.
We had a vote at the last meeting. I don't know if it was the last meeting, but we had a vote on this at one point, and it didn't pass.
It was last week. During board comments, it was brought up. It didn't have consensus, so then it comes to a work session, which was the idea that when the board came up with that idea that they would allow it to be on an agenda so people had an opportunity to know it was going to be discussed and talk about it at the work session, like you said, Mrs. Sprague. Then if it's a consensus, it goes on the board, and if it dies, it dies, and the same works with the board policy. If someone brings it up at a board meeting and everybody agrees, it comes through the board policies, and if not, I shouldn't say agree, everybody has a consensus, you can live with it or not. So the same procedure gets followed.